Hello, my friends. So, we knew that it was only a matter of time before Amber crashed out over the Emily texts. It was obviously bothering her. She was trying to pretend like she was unbothered and pretend like she was in such a good space. She had moved on so hard.
I have moved on so hard and I'm in such a good space.
But she can't physically keep herself from responding. And I know I say Darvo a lot, so I'm just gonna say it up front here so that I don't say it throughout the whole video. That's all this is. And it is another case that should be studied as the perfect example of Darvo. We see these texts that clearly paint Amber as a monster who refuses to take accountability for anything. And it's Emily. Emily's the problem. And for the most part, I'm really only going to be covering the live where she shows the texts as proof, but I probably will go back and watch the others too, just to see if there's anything interesting and maybe make a second video. But this is really just going to cover the proof live stream. So let's get into it. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not going to lie. So in the first live, you can see the cracks starting to form. She is saying, you know, we're not going to talk about it. So Brian says, we want the best for you, Amber. I think we gave up on that a long time ago because she doesn't want the best for herself. And it says, but we want truth and accountability. Amber responds,
So Brian, my truth is never believed, so I'm not going there. And that's the end of it.
It wasn't, though. It wasn't the end of it. Also, her truth is never believed. Not the truth, her truth. And that is absolutely what happens. Is she tells her truth because it's not the truth.
We're gonna move on from that topic. Who's excited for Vlogmas though?
I mean, they'll move on for a little bit, but not really. So everybody in the chat, or not everybody, but a lot of people are talking about how Rachel's going viral. And Amber says,
most reaction channels are. And that's why I don't watch them, because it's just like, oh.
Okay, yeah, she doesn't watch them. She never watches any reaction channels. Okay. And I know that later she does a stream where she tries to convince us that she has not watched any, but you know how many sock accounts she has? And you know she's watching them on sock accounts so that she can comment. So that doesn't prove anything. So again, they mention we want truth and transparency, and she says,
so when people ask for truths and transparency, I gave you guys that when I had an absolute crash out on my live stream. I gave you guys that wholeheartedly, and that was the end of it.
It is wild that after the first texts were released, she came on here and literally just said, nuh-uh, it was Emily. Everything is Emily's fault. And then when somebody says, we just want truth and transparency, she's like, that's exactly what I gave you. When it was literally just, I know you are, but what am I? And it was a prime example of somebody who will not take responsibility for their actions. Because even when she did admit to doing something, it was still Emily's fault.
My pain turned me into a monster because of what you did.
I think she lives in Delulu land, where she's really like, yep, I gave them all the truth and transparency that I can muster. Except we know that she knew she was lying about the arm photo, and Dell makes a good point. She says, funny how you lied about the arm photos. And that was at least one case where we know for a fact that she was lying. But as far as like why Emily was acting the way she was, I think she convinced herself that Emily was at fault for everything because she can't see herself doing anything wrong. And so when Emily is maybe crashing out or yelling at Amber or, you know, trying to get away from Amber, Amber sees that as Emily being the problem. So, and then she starts reading her journals to prove her feelings at the time, which don't matter really in the grand scheme of things. When it comes to the truth and what actually happened, her feelings about it don't matter because we know her feelings are nothing's ever my fault. Everything is Emily's fault. So of course the journal is going to be Amber saying, she has the audacity to blame me for some of this stuff.
I don't understand how she can go from I miss you so much, everything reminds me of you, come home, to just flat out being fucking awful to me. I can't take it anymore.
She's saying that Emily wanted Amber to come home. She said, I miss you so much, come home. Amber wasn't anywhere. Amber was at home. She never left. She couldn't leave unless Emily took her somewhere. But anyway, I would love to know what happened between the moment where she's saying, I miss you so much, and being awful to her, right? Amber leaves out whatever happened in the middle there. And I'm going to guess it's Amber treating Emily like crap because Emily doesn't do exactly what Amber wants. And then she talks about how Emily looked at other women and blamed Amber. And again, it's all very one-sided from the Queen of Delulu land. So the journals don't make any difference at all as far as what actually happened. And then they're like, address the Rarity situation. And she's like, I journaled about it. So yeah, this will prove what actually happened with Rarity. But listen to what she says.
See, that's why I like to journal about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? 3:19 p.m. Rarity is missing. She has been for a few days now. It has been so fucking hard. She was my world. Sad thing is, she is missing because of Emily. But I took the blame and told YouTube it was my fault. I knew I was going to get attacked and it'll last for the rest of my life. But I did it to protect Emily, which is...
A couple of things here. If she's actually reading something, which is debatable, this is several days after the fact, right? This isn't like Rarity is missing right now. I just found out, or today it happened, or whatever. This is a few days later. She hasn't written about Rarity until a few days later. And convenient that in her journal, she says it was because of Emily, but I took the blame, saying exactly what she told us in her YouTube videos and stuff. And also just interesting that she's holding it up in front of her face. I think she's just making that up. I think she's just saying that and pretending to read. But even if she isn't, right? Even if she journaled that, that doesn't make it true. Because she either is lying and blaming Emily, or she's delusional and blaming Emily. Because Emily has come out and said she slammed that door on her way out. She knows it was closed on her way out. So yeah, I think she's just saying this and pretending to read. Also, after reading her journal, notice all the tomatoes. The tomatoes are flying. This live is called Okay. And she finally crashes out. This is the piece de resistance, if you will.
She texted me one time saying, you said you didn't want to be with me. No. And then I listed off a bunch of things that she does to me.
Cool story, bro.
Comparing me to Colleen, calling me an evil bitch, a fake bitch, threatening me over and over, telling me you hate me with every fiber of your being. It's not okay. The only standards I expect is respect, but you were in a grumpy mood and took it out on me as always. You can't even admit to how awful you are to me sometimes, especially today.
So notice that she is trying to say, or trying to insinuate, that Emily just does this stuff for no reason. You know what? I'm just going to say some mean shit to Amber.
You dig and dig and dig and trying to find the most horrible thing to say to me. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I was like, you made me believe that my feelings aren't valid.
And the people over here are saying, show us, show it. If we don't see it, it didn't happen. But it doesn't really matter. This is a nothing burger. Even if she shows us this doesn't mean anything. She can say all day long that Emily was mean to her and saying mean things to her. That still doesn't excuse the way she behaved when she got aggressive.
Said that I'm a fat ass and I'm a bitch, that I'm fucking stupid, that I'm a dumbass, that everyone who online who hates me is valid, that you hate me, that I'm an awful person, etc. The list can go on. I always deserve constructive criticism, but the name calling has left me feeling empty, but simultaneously.
She always deserves constructive criticism, you guys. She knows that. She takes constructive criticism very well.
Honestly, full of pain. And she said, I didn't call you any of those things. And then I was like, ... are you joking? And she was like, when you were at your worst in Wisconsin, I did. Why are you bringing it up now? Like, just literally lying. So I'm going to show you the text messages of her doing it in a second here. Oh my God. So her line saying that she only said them when I was in Wisconsin, right?
I don't know, man. If somebody grabbed me and body slammed me, I might call them those things too. I don't know. And again, it's not excusing Emily's behavior because Emily clearly sucked too, but it seems like she kind of had a little bit more of a valid reason to say the things that she did. And even with all that, that doesn't give Amber the right to be physical with her.
Said them when I was in Wisconsin, right? Well, that's proof that she said them, right? So I'm about to show you here. You're being a fucking cunt. There it is right there.
Okay, so
do not talking to me ever again, you evil cunt. There it is right there. You wake me up out of dead sleep when I'm sick to being a fucking cunt to me, which I wasn't, but.
So the picture she's painting is Emily said she didn't call me these things after Wisconsin, and look, I have proof that she did. So who's the real monster here? Like, yeah, should she have called her those things? No, not really. But I'd love to know what caused her to say these things, right? What made her mad? Something tells me Amber said some stuff that made her seem like a cunt. Also, she's giving some other people's names away. Allie Wise. And of course, we know she's been talking to Alexis too. So I don't think she realized she was doing that. But yeah, is this supposed to absolve her of the responsibility from when she was physical with Emily? Is this supposed to justify her behavior? Because this is stupid.
Not me calling Alexis a cunt.
So does that mean Alexis can body slam you? I mean, I guess she could try. Does she not understand the hypocrisy there?
Okay. Let's do, what other word should I type in? Let's type in bitch.
Oh no, Emily called her a bitch. I guess she's justified.
Damn, my friend says bitch for everything. Okay.
I'm guessing that Allie Wise is her friend. Spooky Emmy makes a good point. You can't just show her messages, show it all. We don't know what's causing Emily to say this stuff. And Amber is doing that on purpose. Amber doesn't want us to see what she's saying. So none of this matters. And, you know, I will say that Emily never really showed any of the mean things she was saying. And, you know, it's kind of been said that she seems to be kind of holding back some of the things that she might have done, trying to make herself seem like there's no fault on her end. So, you know, keep that in mind that Emily's no saint and Emily was probably part of the problem. But it all comes down to, does it justify Amber's behavior? No, absolutely not. And we also know that Amber just drives people nuts. She seemingly intentionally drives them nuts just to get what she wants. If you're doing something she doesn't like, she will make your life a living hell. And at some point, people snap, just like Emily said in her texts. You can only take so much until you snap.
This was crazy. This was June 28th, 2025. I know you're cheating on me, bitch. Like, just going crazy on me. And I was like, what are you talking about? She does this thing where she'll lie about people sending her proof of stuff.
Huh, that sounds familiar. People are sending me things. I get so many messages. I've had so many DMs from people. Okay.
Then she'll like hound me and like make me try to admit to something that isn't true. Like, it is actual torture, you guys. And this one lasted a good week.
It sounds like Amber kind of got a taste of her own medicine. In at least that instance, you know. Emily probably got some idea that Amber was talking to somebody else. And Emily hounded her about it. And Amber can't handle that. And has no self-awareness to realize, is this what I'm doing to people? Maybe I should stop, you know? I love this comment. It says, seems more like describing you than name calling. Calling her the C word and calling her a bitch and calling her all these things. Seems like describing you more than name calling. Yeah, I think that that's about right, man. How am I being awful by confronting on you and catching you in a lie? Sorry you can't take being caught.
How am I being awful by confronting on you and catching you in a lie? Sorry you got caught. Telling me that I am cheating on her. Even though I wasn't, and just hounding me for literally weeks. Okay.
It's clear that the main problem in this relationship was trust. They just didn't trust each other. Which, I mean, I guess I don't blame either of them for not trusting each other, but yeah, they shouldn't have been together to begin with. But since Amber's a child, she can't just recognize that it's trust issues. And so she probably fed into Emily's anger by being really condescending and trying to always be right rather than trying to see things from Emily's perspective.
And then here it is. I know you're cheating on me, bitch. And I'm just like, you've broken me enough. I'm not going to respond anymore. And
Being the third wheel. So this text thread, of course, you can't see it all because of the glare, but it says, I know you're cheating on me, bitch. I can do so much better than you anyway. I mean, yes, but you both suck. And the world will know you're a cheater. I've had this gut feeling for a while and I was right. So it sounds like Emily actually found something that she at least thinks is proof. You know, this sounds like somebody who is like, I knew it, and is confronting Amber. And so, of course, she's kind of going off. So, again, this doesn't prove anything. This doesn't justify Amber's behavior. Don't ever mention me in your vlogs again or I'll sue. I mean, good luck with that. Well, you're wrong and you're losing me because this is the most unhinged behavior, I guess, I've ever seen. Well, Amber's lying here. She says you're losing me, but we know Amber will never leave anyone. They have to leave her. You know, there's no telling what Emily found or what Emily saw that she thought was proof. And Amber very well could have been talking to somebody. She was with a married woman for a while and had no problem with it. In fact, still has no problem with it. She still talks about it like Erica was one of her relationships, even though she was married, and she makes excuses for it. So I wouldn't put it past Amber to cheat on Emily, but this just seems as though Emily just found something that she thought was proof. And this is a pretty common way to confront somebody about it. You know, God, the relationship was terrible.
And then she was like, don't ever mention me in your vlogs again or else soon the world will know you're a cheater. Just absolutely making this stuff up. Like just going insane.
And that's the problem, right? Amber says she's just making this stuff up. But what's actually happening is Emily has found something or has seen something that she thinks proves Amber is cheating. And instead of Amber being an adult and saying, let's talk about this, let's figure out why you think that, and trying to talk her down, right? And trying to convince her that that's not the case, Amber's just like, you're torturing me. You're making this stuff up. When I would bet money she was talking to somebody else, and that's why she's flipping out like this. And that's why she wouldn't really confront it or really try to see things from Emily's side, because what was she going to do? So yeah, all she could do is gaslight.
Calling me the fakest bitch I've ever met. She just always like said the most foul things to me, just like out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, out of nowhere. That's it. It's out of nowhere.
You're being a
Okay, well then in that case, problem solved. We know Amber is in the right. She did nothing wrong. It was out of nowhere, you guys.
Straight up bitch. I wish I had one where she called me a fat ass, you guys. My jaw was on the floor, but that was in person. There's just...
Yeah, that sucks, but that still doesn't take responsibility away from you being physical with her and letting Rarity out.
So many. Don't gaslight me, you bitch.
She makes a face like that's the craziest thing she's ever heard. Don't gaslight me. But that is all she's doing. Lying and gaslighting are Amberlynn's only two languages. She's bilingual, by the way. And it's sort of like Spanish in Spain and Spanish in Mexico, where they're basically the same language, just a little different, you know?
Like, don't call me names. Like, what is wrong with you? Wait, where is it? And I'm like, "You're breaking my heart," and it's just, like, continuous, like, constantly blaming me of cheating when I never cheated, like, it was, like, this weird thing. Oh, and then her calling me dumb, a psychotic, vindictive bitch, like,
These are not things you say to somebody out of nowhere. Calling somebody a psychotic, vindictive bitch, that's in response to somebody saying or doing something that's psychotic and vindictive, I would think. And honestly, the more she shows of Emily pushing the cheating thing, the more convinced I am that Amber was talking to somebody else.
and then that's me telling her, like, "You treat me like garbage, like, I'm done." Like, I was constantly breaking up with her, and then it never stuck.
Yeah, obviously,
Um,
she can't break up with anyone unless she's got someone already lined up that she can go to. Jessica Jingle says, "We don't care that she called you a bitch. We don't care that she called you a fat ass. We don't care." Like, yeah, that sucks, but that's still nothing compared to what you did and what you still completely refuse to own up to. Teddy says, "I mean, you do be gaslighting." Yeah, that entire text thread from Emily was Amber gaslighting. And then Sugar Glider said, "Oh, you definitely cheated. Haha." Yeah. And that's the thing, man. The more she talks, the more clear it is that she was cheating. And again, I say cheating. She was just talking to somebody, you know, probably sending some crumble cookie videos.
and it's like, a lot of this was, like, on FaceTime, in person, like, over the phone, so you don't have proof in that.
Yeah, okay.
But, let's see. Here's one that's crazy. My mom was with me when this was happening, and yeah. Um, "You need to actually shut the fuck up or I will expose your stupid ass." And I was like, "I'm concerned and worried for you, you know?"
That is so fucking condescending. Emily is clearly angry and calling Amber out for cheating or whatever. And Amber's like, "I'm concerned for you." Like, that's just, of course, that would just piss Emily off even more. And Amber wants to pretend like she was actually concerned, but she was clearly just trying to push Emily's buttons because Amber was angry. And if she's not happy, nobody's happy. Like, you wouldn't legitimately say, "I'm worried and concerned for you," in response to somebody calling you out for cheating, unless you were being sarcastic or, again, being condescending. One thing she is a master of, maybe the only thing she's a master of, is getting under people's skin.
And then she's like, "You're the most delusional people I've ever met in my entire life. You literally think the world revolves around you. You're literally only dated me for your own egotistical reasons. You honestly don't give a fuck about me unless it benefits you." Just literally going on and on, like, out of nowhere. "You need to actually shut the fuck up or I will expose your stupid ass." So,
So, yeah, she is convinced that Emily calling her stupid and Emily calling her a vindictive bitch and things like that are on the same level as the things that Amber has been accused of doing. I mean, she's really convinced that she's going to say this stuff. She's going to show that Emily called her names, and everybody's going to go, "Man, now I get it. You were completely justified." When all this does is, A, raise more questions as to what Amber was saying to start these conversations. And we already hear her being condescending and flippant about what Emily's saying. And that's just not the right way to handle an argument as an adult. And B, it just makes Amber look worse and more delusional because she thinks that this makes it okay, that this is on the same level as what she did. And it also just makes everybody realize that Amber was probably cheating, and when she would gaslight Emily, Emily would get mad, and then she's using that as proof that Emily's just as bad or worse than Amber. I'm concerned and worried. Acceptance is step one. Again, that is so condescending. Acceptance is step one. That would piss me off, man. I would start calling her names too. No, it's concerning your lack of self-awareness. Get fucked. You show so many signs of what? I bet it's narcissism. I would bet money that it says narcissism up
like,
there. How am I acting like? I'm
I
perfect.
constantly
I'm saying I'm having a fucking breakdown. The "I'm perfect" thing is a little weird. And I think she just means like, I feel perfect, but I don't know, man. With these two, you never know.
I'm just telling her, like, she concerns me. Um,
Yeah, and the denial files says, I fear calling someone names doesn't compare to physically hurting someone. But if you have proof of that, then prove us wrong. And that's kind of the whole gist of this entire live, is we don't doubt that she called you names. We don't care. We know Emily sucks too. We know Emily is not a good girlfriend. You are not a good girlfriend. But one of you took things way too far and will not take accountability for it.
I hate looking back at this stuff. And sometimes, like, verbal abuse is not even about, like, the curse words that they say to you, you know?
Yes, we do know. She doesn't hear herself speak. That is so wild that she can treat Emily the way she did, treat Beck the way she did, treat Jade likely the way she did, and then say that. And I like how she was very specific in saying verbal abuse, because she's trying to equate what Emily did to what she did to Emily. And it's just not the same, especially considering we all can see that Emily didn't just do this for no reason. All of this is stemming from whatever Amber said. And while we all recognize that Emily should have just broken it off before she started calling names and stuff, because that's pretty childish. And if you're at the point where you're calling people names, maybe you should find somebody else. But it feels like it could have been at least somewhat justified, because we know Amberlynn. We know how she acts and how she treats people.
I just felt like no matter how hard I tried, it was never good enough.
One thing Amber is known for is trying hard at things.
I was telling her that my mental health was really bad. And she said, "You're so fucking stupid. I fucking can't stand it. You're literally the most shitty person I've ever met."
Yeah, that's definitely what prompted that response, is Amber saying, Emily, my mental health is really bad. And Emily's response to just that was, you're stupid. You suck. I hate you. I will say, it's almost like going across the country and staying with somebody for an extended period that you barely know, that you met on the internet just a month or two before, might not be a great idea for either of you, especially if you have no means of taking care of yourself at all. You can't go home if you get tired of being there. You have to rely on somebody else to get you there.
And that was just me telling her how bad my mental health was.
So I want to know what was up here, because Emily says, because you literally don't give a fuck about me, only yourself. 100%, absolutely. Because even when she's trying to like pretend like she cares about somebody else, you know, if she's talking about how much she loves Emily and how much she wants to be with Emily and how much she wants her skin on her skin and crap like that, it's just because Amber wants that, right? It's all to satisfy what Amber wants. Everything Amber does is self-serving, 100%. And so at the end of the day, she didn't give a shit if Emily was happy or not. I told you last night before all of this that my mental health was bad. So no, she's not just saying my mental health is bad. She's using it as an excuse for whatever she did. I told you last night before all of this that my mental health was bad. So she's basically saying, whatever I said, you can't hold it against me because mental health. Checkmate. And it seems like Emily is trying to have kind of a one-sided conversation. She's like trying to get Amber to admit to stuff and trying to get through to Amber. And Amber is just having her own conversation in her own little world. So, and then Emily says, you are literally the most shitty person I've ever met. Even now, you care more about being right than caring about me. You don't love me. You never have. You love yourself. Don't ever contact me again. And that's it. She can't be wrong. She will burn the world before admitting she did something wrong. There was a psychologist that said a narcissist will let the house burn down before they admit they started a fire. And that is Amber. She will let the entire relationship go to shit. She did. In fact, that's exactly what happened here. She let this entire relationship go to shit. completely destroyed, all because, 100% because she couldn't admit she did something wrong. That is it. That is the reason her relationship fell apart. And it's still happening. Even after, supposedly, the relationship is over, she never gained that self-awareness to realize that that was the problem. Because in her mind, everything was Emily's fault. This is fascinating that somebody exists that can be this allergic to taking accountability.
That was just me telling her how bad my mental health was. And then she said, I do hate you, actually. And here's another one. You're so fucking stupid. You're so stupid again. Her thinking I'm cheating on her when I'm literally not. And I have to like message her like so much so she gets it.
She says, you're so stupid. I literally saw and heard the messages. Go have fun with your skinny blonde. She misspelled blonde. So I would love to know what Emily saw and heard, because it is becoming more and more obvious that Amber was talking to somebody. I told you that it was mean girl energy. It reminded me of when I was being made fun of in high school. I literally told you that. See, this is her having a completely different conversation. Emily says, I saw and heard the messages, and Amber's like, you're a mean girl. Emily says, stop talking to me. Wow. And then she continues to talk to her. After everything I caught you doing, I never left you. And remember, it was her looking at really gross stuff on Tumblr, supposedly. I don't know, man. Do you think somebody looking at pictures is betrayal, is cheating? Now, I guess it depends on what they're looking at, right? Like if they're looking at some weird, crazy shit, then I might be like, I don't think I want to do this anymore, you know? But just looking at other women, I mean, yeah, it'd be a little weird and I would probably be a little upset, but nothing like this. And then she says, and the crazy part is I did nothing wrong. I was not flirting. Not one time did I say anything flirty to her. Name one flirty thing I said to her. I mean, you're talking to her. I don't know. But look at her TikToks. She does that kind of crap all the time where she's sending vibes out to people.
So she gets it. Like, I'm not cheating on you, but... And when I would try to apologize, even...
And keep in mind, all of this, all these texts are from after Wisconsin. That means even when they're not physically together, Amber's staying with her through all this. And Emily's staying with Amber through all this. Like, God, they're both so dumb. They're both so stupid. I mean, all they had to do, either one of them, is just block the other and move on.
And when I would try to apologize, even for something I didn't even know I was apologizing for, like sometimes like I felt like I was just apologizing to like, I'm calm. I just want calm. She would say things like, I don't want your stupid fake ass apologies. And
yeah, because we've heard Amber's apologies. In fact, she probably even said, I'm sorry, but I'm apologizing for something I didn't even do. You know, she can't really apologize because she can't acknowledge she did something wrong.
Here's more where I was like, thanks for threatening me, because that's all she ever does.
All right, Spoiler Studios says, I'm not on Emily's side, which I'm going to guess this is sort of to try to goad Amber into saying something. But I do want to know why she would consistently accuse you of cheating. There had to be a reason behind it. A text message, maybe, something. The way she spoke to you isn't okay. Which, I mean, I guess not, right? It's not nice to say those things, but again, you can only take so much. And if I find out that my partner's cheating, you better believe I'm going to be saying shit like that too. So while it's not appropriate, it's not unexpected.
And she was like, you already did, you moron, which I don't know what she's talking about. And she's like, and I'm like, stop calling me names. And she's like, well, stop being stupid. Do anything to affect my life more than you already have, I will sue the fuck out of you and get your channel shut down. You can be homeless. And I try to act super unfazed. And I'm just...
Yeah, she tries to act super unfazed. Okay, yeah. Says, LMFAO, bye. You think I'm kidding? You're threatening me and threatening my daughter's well-being. What? Wow, this got interesting. You're threatening me and threatening my daughter's well-being. What did Amber say? Thanks for threatening me. You already did, you moron. Meaning Amber threatened her already. I don't think Amber realizes how bad this makes her look. I'm going to guess that Amber sort of threatened to say things about Emily that might get her daughter taken away, or maybe get her put in CPS custody or something like that. So think about the juxtaposition here where Emily says, you threaten my daughter's well-being, and Amber's like, stop calling me names. All you do is belittle me. You make me hate myself. Talk about thinking you're the center of the universe. Holy shit.
Just like LMFAO by. And deep down, I'm like fucking just hurting. Literally hurting. These are all just random times where we were in a relationship.
And that just proves that whatever Amber is hiding, whatever stuff Amber said that she doesn't want us to know, might justify some of the things that Emily's saying to an extent, right? I think Emily should just have left her alone and blocked her and moved on. But I wouldn't doubt. In fact, you know what? A thought just occurred. We know that Amber will not leave somebody alone, even when they say, leave me alone. So I wonder, if Emily was telling Amber to leave her alone, and Amber then said, basically, you have to talk to me or I'm going to get CPS called on you or something. I would not put that past Amber for a second. I can absolutely see Amber freaking out because she wants Emily to talk to her, and to get that, she threatened CPS or something. Your fault you keep going back. Yeah, especially now that she's not in Wisconsin. And then Amberlynn's rabies says, we want proof of her physically hurting you. Now, we don't have proof necessarily that Amber physically hurt Emily, but given all of the clues, given all the context clues with those texts, it's pretty clear she did, but it's overwhelming evidence, just no proof necessarily.
And then here she says, I hate you. You've ruined my life.
She probably did ruin Emily's life, right? Now, is it 100% Amberlynn's fault that Emily got put into girl world? No. Emily should have known better. Emily should never have gotten involved with Amber to begin with. But Amber made it exponentially worse. So, yeah, Emily's life probably sucked as soon as she got involved in girl world.
And I said, I'm not in a place emotionally where I can talk. Yesterday and last night was incredibly hurtful. I need space. And she said, throwing me away like I'm nothing to you. And I was like, the way you acted yesterday and last night was very hurtful. I need space.
She can say that all she wants. The way you acted yesterday was hurtful, because to Amber, she can body slam someone, and if they say, I hate you for doing that, then she can say, that was hurtful. You saying that was very hurtful. I need space. And I will say, I think it's wild that Emily is still saying, so you're done with me? This is in June. So this is after Wisconsin, for sure. At this point, Emily, it's your fault. The fact that you continue to have this conversation with her, like, what did you expect? How did you ever expect that this would change? For almost a year, you have dealt with Amberlynn, never taking accountability, never admitting to doing anything wrong. Did you think she was all of a sudden going to change her mind? God, they're both so dumb.
She just constantly was so mean to me.
She was so mean to me for no reason, you guys. Shut up.
Here's more. I literally hate you with every fiber of my being. I knew you were a cheater. I'm waiting for you to apologize. Her blaming me for cheating me.
Think about the wording there. Her blaming me for cheating. That's a little weird to word it like that. If you cheated, which it seems very likely that you did, who else is she going to blame? And it seems as though she found something that convinced her you were cheating. And again, instead of talking about it, all you do is gaslight. The problem is you were with somebody who recognized gaslighting. So she wouldn't just take it. And that threw her mind into glitch mode. And this is a good point. This person says, we saw you say you hate her and threatened to ruin her life, publicly and privately. And that was just because Amber wanted her to call her back, wanted her to talk about whatever was going on. I assume the snowflake thing. So Amber's doing the exact same thing she is.
You're nothing like Colleen, and you never will be.
I would bet that Amber probably brought up Colleen, just like in the text where Amber says, go find another Colleen. And Emily says, I never will. So I'm guessing that conversation was probably very similar, where Amber said, go find another Colleen or something. And Emily responds,
you're nothing like Colleen, and you never will be.
I mean, it sounds reasonable to me.
She always compared me to Colleen.
All right, Haley M says, y'all can dislike Amber all you want, but putting her exes on a pedestal is crazy. They literally were in a relationship with her, and you think their morals don't align? And at this point, with as much attention as Amber has had on the internet, and as much as we all know about how horrible she is, then somebody choosing to be with her is probably horrible too. Now, Beck and Destiny and Crystal could be forgiven because they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. But Emily did. So I guess what she's saying is kind of right.
I don't know. I did stay.
Somebody just joined and it's Black and Decker Pecker Wrecker.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is.
I kind of low-key
what
wish
it
I wouldn't have looked at all this because it's making me really sad.
All right, so all of the messages here, all of them saying, you know, this doesn't prove anything, you were not suffering, and you stayed. There's a lot of that. Like, all this happened and then you stayed. Amber reads this one.
People complaining she stayed, yet don't question why Beck stayed.
Beck had no choice. You made sure they had no choice. You financially ruined Beck so that they had no choice. They had to stay with you. These situations aren't the same.
I don't know.
I don't know why people are complaining that I stayed, but don't say anything about Beck staying. Like, God, she is such a fucking piece of shit, man. She put Beck in a financial situation where Beck had no other alternatives. They had to stay because Amber took over their bank account and made sure that Beck would not get another job.
I always have to be the wrong one.
That is some audacity to say, I've always got to be the wrong one. Like, what you did here in this live proves nothing. This changes nothing. And she is still, after all this, she's had 4 of her last 5 partners come out and talk about how horrible she is. And I'm guessing she was horrible to Jay too, but all of them have a pretty similar story of Amber being narcissistic and abusive and just generally horrible. And when she's asked about being the common denominator, she's like, everyone's the common denominator for everything.
Have you ever realized that common denominator is you? I hate the saying the common denominator thing. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, because we're all the common denominator. So that's just the way that I view it.
She will not ever even entertain the idea that she could be the problem. And then she says, I've always got to be the wrong one. Yes, you are. And the fact that you refuse to acknowledge it, realize it, or admit it just continues to make it worse and worse and worse for you and for your partners. And it is so fascinating that she just won't learn that lesson. She will never. You know, at some point, we all thought one of these days, Amber will figure it out. Amber will gain a little bit of self-awareness, but clearly that's never going to happen. This super chat is from That's Enough Spaghetti, Amber. Good Lord, victim Lynn again. Yep. Comparing yourself to Beck is insane. Man, these comments are on point. So you know you've messed up when Oh Lordy Jordy Sucks says, where's the truly juicy stuff? Even they are like, this is nothing.
But the last things that we said to each other.
And here you go. Spooky Emmy said exactly what I was thinking. Beck had no job, no house, no one. It's not the same. 100%. Absolutely. That is the difference.
I messaged her and I said, I found out you were messaging Rachel about me being in the hospital. I'd rather not speak to you anymore. You tell me not to talk about you and you literally will not keep my name out of your mouth. Please delete me from all social media, block me, do whatever you can. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, Amber wasn't saying anything about Emily publicly around that time. Because at this point, when this text came through, Amber was on her month-long hiatus. But, you know, Amber was just not leaving Emily alone and was being just as horrible as always. And I think Emily just finally had enough and was like, I'm so sick of this shit. And all this time, Rachel had been talking to Emily, trying to, you know, get to the bottom of things.
I was like, I'll never speak to you again. She said, which I didn't reply to, she said, I have a lot more I could say. So if you say anything about me, I won't hold back. And this was just constantly how it was. Like her just constantly threatening me.
You're trying to convince us that you guys were having a normal conversation or no conversation at all. And all of a sudden you get a text saying, if you talk about me, I'm going to sue you and I'm going to ruin your life and blah, 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 blah. Out of the blue, out of nowhere. Bullshit. That just doesn't make sense. So yeah, all this is Amber just completely ignoring whatever she did to try to make Emily look bad. But everybody can see Emily was responding to what Amber was doing.
And it's so crazy because I noticed that the way that like she would start texting me would change. And I should have known it's because she was gathering screenshots.
The screenshots that she's shown have been from Wisconsin. I don't think Emily showed any that were from after Wisconsin. I mean, there was a couple, I guess, at the end of Rachel's video, but most of them were from Wisconsin. So that doesn't make any sense.
It's just really fucking shitty, bro. Like,
is she trying to say that in Wisconsin, Emily thought one of these days I might need to show these, so I'm going to start texting weird to fish for screenshots? Like, shut up. So that's it for this one. And I will watch the other lives that she did. There are several hours of her just, you know, sitting there. But I think there are some little gold nuggets in there. So I'll kind of go through and pick those out. And I'll maybe make another video. We'll kind of see how that goes. You know, I'm not surprised by this, but it's still just so fascinating to see somebody who just doesn't get it. After everything that's happened, after everything people keep telling her, and they're trying to like point her in the right direction, right? All of her chat and all the comments and everything, everybody's like, you were physical, that's the problem. You refuse to admit or take accountability for the fact that you were physical with her. So the name calling and all that stuff really is a moot point. And on top of all that, it's clear that Amber was doing things to cause Emily to get mad. And I reiterate, they both suck, and Emily should not have been calling her partner names. But if you've got a relationship where you're calling your partner names or your partner is calling you names, you're in the wrong relationship. That should never happen. You should get out of that relationship right now and find somebody else. But Amber is so desperate. And honestly, that makes me think that she was talking to somebody else, because I think she was trying to figure out a way out of the relationship, but she won't do that until she has somebody else lined up. So I can actually see her talking to other people trying to line up an escape route, basically. So we'll see what else she said, and I'll be back and I will talk to you guys later. Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.